So what's going on, B-Dad Patriot Gardeners? It's your old buddy Murdoch. And well, as you can see, me and you are going gardening in the dark. And in Arizona, that seems to be one of the best times to come out here. Right after that sun has gone down and really things are starting to cool off. Oh, such a beautiful time. Well, this evening I was asked to make a very special video for one of our very special B-Dads. And I hope I say this right, Jojo. And they were asking about how we grow giant Patriot tomato trees. And well, I'm going to show you how. The first thing with any tomato and with any plant is going to be genetics. That's why we have been focusing so heavily on the heirloom varieties. They are true breeding, and they have been proven year after year after year to produce viable seed and to continue. So that being said, as long as you have an indeterminate variety, meaning that the plant will continue to grow year after year instead of producing all of its flowers at one time and then dying off thereafter, you can produce a tomato plant that you can mistake for shrubbery or a small tree in your front yard if you trim it up right and take good care of it. So without further ado, we're going to go over just a couple quick products that I use in my garden that I like and are really good. This Job's Organic, the vegetable and tomato. It does have the Omni listing, which almost all my products do have. That is pretty important if you want to try to stay 100% organic. I know there's been a lot of comments from folks about, oh no, what if I use fertilizer, or that was accidentally in my potting soil, does that affect my seeds? And, what if I don't have 100% organic plants and, all of that? Listen, as long as you treat your plants right and do a turnaround as quick as you can and give it as much organic as you can, I honestly, I don't see the issue. We all teethed on cribs that were painted in lead-based paint, and all of us are still alive. We want to make this transition over to 100% organic and these renewable beds, which is what we're on right now. This is the Patriot seed plot here. But at the same token, for those of you guys who are getting going and, Lowe's is the only place or a local nursery, I can guarantee you any of the plants you buy there have been fed some form of chemical fertilizer. And let me just also throw this out, being that I have a background in chemistry and plant and animal genetics. The chemical composition of nitrogen and phosphorus and magnesium, although the derivative, it may be a little bit different, meaning the place it's coming from, the actual chemical that the plant's going to draw up and use, whether it be from a chemical source or from an organic source, after the plant draws it, is going to be the exact same. Now, that being said, organic is better. Organic is where we want to go. But if you bought a seedling that happened to come from a nursery, I wouldn't sweat it. Honestly, I wouldn't sweat it, especially since some of the nurseries are now carrying organic and heirloom varieties. Now, this here is a Brandywine heirloom. This was grown from seed, and it's about 4 weeks old now. And I've got a few little roots that are starting to poke out the bottom of my cup. So it's about time to go in the ground. So this is an indeterminate variety of heirloom tomato. And I'm going to see how big I can get it. I think I can get this at least 8 to 10 foot. No problem. So let's go over what we're going to do. In my little container here, I have some backfill material that I'm going to be filling the hole with. This is 1/3 compost, 1/3 raised bed and potting mix. This is also OMRI listed organic product. This is really good stuff, folks. I like this stuff a lot. It's about half the price of Miracle Grow and doesn't contain any additives or chemical fertilizers in it. It is OMRI listed, so that is 100% organic additives. They're all listed. They're all registered, and you can get a good start in your garden beds with this product. And I've got about 10% of this deodorized manure here. And I've got about 10% of just some basic garden soil that came out of the dirt here. And then I've added a few things. A little bit of our black gold earthworm castings, a little pinch of blood meal, a little bit of bone meal, and a little handful of this right here. These are about the same. These are just slow release organic fertilizers. They last about 3 months, and then you can add a little bit more. I grabbed a handful of this and threw it in here and mixed it up, so the plant's got some goodies. And without further ado, here we are in the northwest corner of the Patriot seed plot, and we've got some of our organic cucumbers that have been growing wild here. Underneath this bed, there's about a 2-foot layer and about a 2-foot wide area that's completely filled with soil and compost that was in a pile for almost 5 years. That thing was fed hundreds, and I mean, when I say hundreds, I'm not kidding you, hundreds of fish carcasses, feathers, every kind of dinner scrap you can imagine for over 5 years. And we dug it up and put a 4-foot wide and 2-foot deep trench all the way down over here. Let me step back and get out of the light. All the way down over here. Let me see if this helps. There, that'll help a little bit. On both sides. And so I dug this hole down about 12 inches, which is the depth of the garden bed that I put in here, that's sitting on top of another 24 inches of prepared soil that I spent about 3 months getting ready. So I dug down to the base there, which is hitting the compost area. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now, excuse me, I'm getting old. Murdoch's not a young chicken anymore. So I'm going to reach down. First thing I'm going to do is get some of my Grow Well tomato and vegetable food. Now there is a handful of this mixed into this entire thing, but we're going to give the tomato a jump start. And this is just something I saw, an old farmer do, and the guy was growing 20-foot tomato plants, so it works. So I'm going to take a little handful, about that much, and I'm going to just throw it right in the bottom of that hole. There you go. Then I'm going to get me, about a tablespoon of the blood meal. I'm going to throw it right down in the bottom of that hole. Now I like my earthworm castings, so I'm going to grab me a nice handful of that earthworm castings. Oh, that's such good stuff. And I'm going to chuck it right down in that hole. Now, obviously, we're not looking to bury this thing. So now that we've got that base down in there, what a bunch of goodies for those roots to find, we're going to go ahead and put in about half of our backfill material. I'd say right about there. And we're going to go ahead and level that out. And this is important right here. Now we're going to water it. Now what this is going to do is this is going to settle everything down underneath the plant. What you do not want is dry pockets underneath your plant when you put those roots down. That's a really quick way to burn up a plant that you think is doing well after a couple of days. All right. Now that that's settled down, we're going to go over here and we're going to get some of our bone meal. And this is pretty important. The reason I use this, and we're just going to go poof right down in that hole, that will help eliminate blossom end rot and give calcium to your plants and help those stems. I mean, you'll get half-inch stems out of this plant in about, a month. It's going to be incredible. I'm going to take some video and some time-lapse pictures and post them up as we go along so you guys can watch. So that being said, I'm going to grab me another handful of earthworm castings, throw it right down in there, give it a quick little mix, and we are ready to get our tomato. Now I'm going to take this tomato and these little lower branches right here, I'm going to pinch them off. Sorry guys, I need you guys to go. Now, a tomato being in the nightshade family, every single one of the little tiny hairs that grow all over that stem that you can see right there, if those make contact with soil, they will grow roots. So I already have good established roots coming out of the bottom of this cup. But now if I can get this plant to root from about the middle down all the way to the bottom, well, now that's a much bigger draw that I'm going to get out of the ground and a much bigger plant I'm going to get. So that being said, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Yeah, look at those roots. This thing is definitely ready to go. So I'm just going to tap the bottom. They're going to drop out. I'm going to go ahead and set this guy right down in here. And I'm going to get the rest of my backfill. And I'm going to come through here and fill this in up to right about where the plant was in the base. And I'm going to give a good press down all the way around. Now the ring that I have right around this, I'm going to go ahead and push some of that in and bury some of that stem up about 2 or 3 inches up to the base of that plant. And then very gently, I'm going to go around the plant and kind of press down, making sure that that soil makes contact with that stem all the way around the plant. Then I'm going to build me a little trough. And last but not least, water it and watch it grow. That's a saying from an old man I used to watch on YouTube, Old Alabama Gardener. I posted up a couple of his videos. Really great Christian man. Had a lot of good sayings and a lot of good quotes while he was doing some gardening. And if there's anything I can say, that man definitely had it figured out why father started in a garden first. Patriots, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I hope you all are blessed. And I hope you all have a good night. Murdoch out.